Hey, 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 what is up? Ryan Anderson live, LAFB live, victory day, solo day for your boy, Ryan Anderson, holding down the fort. Ryan Dyrud's got the day off. Still watching football. He's still paying attention. He still loves you guys. Don't you worry. What a game, though. What a game. I got to eat some crow. On this. You guys know this. I wasn't high on Landman. Landman seals the game, rips her back out from the jaws of defeat, and delivers the victory. What a game. Throw your thoughts, your comments in the side here. As always, LAFB brought to you by Sleeper Fantasy, new sponsor for us. It's going to be with us all season long, though. Sleeper is a fantasy sports, real money gambling app. It's not a game. It's a gaming app. It's not a gambling app. It's focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world, with over 6 million active users as of 2023, while earning some of the highest levels of engagement per user. You know what that means? It's community, guys. It's what we're doing here. Get the Sleeper app, Rams LAFB, put that in. They're going to match your dollar investment, dollar for dollar, up to $100. Put in 100, get 100. Put in 5, get 5. It's a lot of fun. They got all the daily fantasy stuff. Who would you have picked for this one? I don't remember exactly what our little daily fantasy picks was for this one. Tyler Higbee was in there. What did Tyler Higbee end up doing in this one? Interesting thing going on with Tyler Higbee. Had a big rotation. Davis Allen was in there with a nice touchdown grab there. Good rotation with Colby Parkinson. Parkinson coughed it up there at the end. Azeez El-Shaair with that good hit. I think Higbee was like a 25-yarder, and we didn't get any. He doesn't have any, no catches, no yards. Rough day out there. So where do we start with this one? We got the win. We thought it was going to be low scoring. Now, if you look at that, who won in the trenches? Let's talk about the trenches just for a second. Offensive linemen going down all over the place in this game. Steve Avila was out for a while. Then you get Kevin Dotson down. We'll see what Sean McVay has to say about that injury. But, there was something about this season that kind of felt like 2022 heading in with the weird Stafford injury. And now we've got all of these injury concerns along the offensive line. Houston losing offensive linemen as well. Tough day across the board there. But in terms of the defense in the trenches, the Rams come out with a win there. 16 pressures, kind of across the board, a good game for the defense. Byron Young and Jared Verse lead with 3 pressures each. Omar Spates getting in there. Both linebackers, Omar Spates and Nate Landman, 2 pressures each. Good sacks from the young man, Tyler Davis. They were talking about Tyler Davis a lot at training camp, saying that he's going to be kind of the next guy in there. Kobe Turner, a little bit of a rough time there. Just 1 pressure, has that big penalty at the end. That's a questionable call. I hate that call. But the Rams kind of put themselves in that position. So that's that. But, this highly touted, highly vaunted defense, D'Amico Ryan's defense with Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter, 10 pressures. Not a bad day. 3 sacks. You got to like that conversion rate for them. But, I would say, given the circumstances, that's a win in the trenches for the Rams. Now let's talk about this last drive a little bit. These last couple of drives anyway. So they're cruising down the field. The offense was looking better and better as the game went along, right? You got to like that. Offense got off to a pretty slow start, though. Didn't quite look like itself. Didn't look like the running game was going to get going. Some of those issues I feel like maybe between Davante Adams and Stafford, some communication issues, some chemistry issues. That got sorted out just as the game went. Let's talk about Stafford for a second. Pivoting to Stafford. Man, looked good. The old man looking like himself. Post-game interview, smiling ear to ear. Didn't look like he was in pain despite getting hit a couple of times. So those were big things that we were keeping an eye out. And I think Stafford really met the challenge. Big reason why they took this game home. Let's take a look at Stafford's stats. 72% completion percentage, 245 yards on 29 attempts, 29 completions. 2 big-time throws per PFF. Gotta like that. No turnover-worthy plays. That's something that's changed over the years that we've seen. That's been a lot of fun to see. Is his gunslinger mentality is kind of tempered as he's gotten a little bit older, right? The last couple of years, he's been really careful with that ball, putting it in the right spots, not putting it into harm's way, not throwing those tough interceptions. That in 2021, it was pretty evident that he was still that gunslinger. Here's a stat that's pretty incredible here. 8.0 average depth of target. He was really pushing that ball down the field. And that was something that I was pretty surprised by. My prediction was they're going to go a lot of quick game. They're going to lean a lot into that Kyren Williams running game. Didn't have to. Just pushed the ball down the field. You got to love that. Yeah, speaking of Kyren Williams, that was another big question. Was Blake Corum going to be able to come into this game and, seamlessly replace Kyren Williams? Not a lot of snaps for Blake Corum again in this game. Only 10 snaps, couple of carries, not much production there. So is it going to be a Kyren Williams show? Kind of a big surprise heading into this game. Cody Schrader was elevated to the active squad. Jarquez Hunter was inactive for this game. That was kind of one of our big predictions, was he was going to be kind of that home run hitter, guy to come in and kind of change the pace, make the defense question what was going to go on in the backfield. Did not happen. It was the Kyren Williams show once again. Kyren Williams had a pretty good day for himself, but this running game isn't looking like it was in 2023. It looked a lot more like it was in 2024. Just 66 yards on 18 carries, 3.7 yards. Nothing over 10 yards, not much more explosive. Helped salt the game away as well, though. Got to like that. 2.33 yards after contact. So if you do the math on that one, not a lot of yards before contact is kind of my takeaway on that one. So that was a big thing in 2023. He had the second most, just behind Christian McCaffrey by 0.1 yard before contact. And that was kind of the height of this offensive line. So was, the running game really affected by those injuries to the offensive line? You got to factor that in there. Obviously, it's not the only factor. Get a good crowd in here. If you guys have any questions, if you want to drop any comments, if you want to challenge me, say anything, let's get this cooking. I'm all by my lonesome for the first time. Again, brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing, organically growing fantasy platform in the world. 6.6 million active users. Sleeper is the best way you can experience and connect over sports together. Put some money down on some of these guys, some of these stat lines. We got 2 great games tonight, or two great games left for week 1. We got Ravens and Bills tonight. We got Bears and Vikings. Go download Sleeper. Use the code Rams LAFB. They match you dollar for dollar, all the way up to $100. Can't beat that. It's a lot of fun, and you can have a good time with friends and fans, people you've never met before. You can, Ryan Dyrud, what a win. He's here. You want to pop in on the show, or are you busy being a dad? Yeah. So let's talk about that drive. They had their chance to salt that away. The Rams did. And they were just chugging along down the field. And unfortunately, uh, that fumble really stalled that drive out. But coming the other direction, that's really what I wanted to talk about. That Rams defense really started to look like itself again, and not in a good way. They were able to pick up big chunks of yardage on the ground. Obviously, they're going into a bit more of a prevent defense, so they didn't want to give up big chunks of yardage, obviously. But the run defense still needs help. I don't know what to say about it. Puka Nacua definitely helped. Let's go check out what Puka Nacua did today. Puka Nacua is run defense grade by PFF 62.5. So nothing red letter day there. This was the guy that was supposed to fix everything. Still an issue. Sorry to say. But I said it at the top of the show. I'm going to say it again. Got a mea culpa for Nate Landman. Was worried about him. Comes up with the big play. Now, the peanut punch was something that he was priding himself on. They said it on the telecast. He called his shot. I think, Stafford said that. He brought that up. He said that he was going to get one today, and it couldn't have come at a better time. CJ Stroud, though, looking like a professional quarterback. This was a tough team. We knew this was going to be a tough out all along. This result is not a surprise to me at all. I picked the final score to be a little bit higher, 19-17. I did pick the Texans to win this game. I'm glad that this is the result. But this is one of those. There is so many high variance plays. Man, it could have gone either direction. So that fell in our favor. So what else are the takeaways from this game? I thought it was a pretty good coverage day by this defense. There was no big star from the Texans that kind of took over the game. I was worried about a guy like Nico Collins going up against Darius Williams or Akella Witherspoon, who had a bit of an injury. How did he end up doing? 3 catches for 25 yards. Nobody really blew this out of the water. You got Dalton Schultz with 27, Jaden Higgins with 33. They spread it around to a lot of different guys, but the Rams secondary did a really good job of keeping the cap on top of this and not allowing those explosive plays. That was another thing I was worried about in this game. We saw it last year when the defense was on their heels, when they weren't able to go after the quarterback with their ears pinned back. What would happen? Big explosive plays down the field. And that just didn't happen. I'm looking at all a win is a win. We will take it. That's for sure. Show. Christian Kirk in there. It kind of field that could have been a game changer. There's so many game changers in this game. This is a tough one to talk about, because I don't feel like there was one unit that played terribly or let this happen. Underneath of them, but once they did, conversation in the run defense conversation. There was a couple of times they let up some big runs because those edges were completely abandoned. I'm remembering one particular, Byron Young tried to stunt inside and just left it nice wide open for a big gain to the right side. That might have been a screen pass, but out of the backfield nonetheless. And those are the things we're kind of gashing them and stuff that they're going to clean up. But, I mean, apart from the injuries, you got to feel pretty good coming out of this game. Yeah, I mean, he's going up against a rookie, Arante Ursary. Ursary ended up moving over to the other side. They have a kind of a revolving Cam Robinson. Cam Robinson came in and Christian Darrisaw went out with his injury. He wreaked some havoc in that game. Just wasn't able to put it all together. And it's been a big question mark about it. Is he just kind of a pursuit monster? Does he have the moves? Does he have the bag? Does he have the discipline to stick with it? Still yet to be seen. We want to see him get those double-digit sacks. We want to see him get Defensive Player of the Year. He's got to start racking up sacks if that's the case. So Verse is another one to keep our eyes on. Anything else to talk about from this game? Anything else I'm missing? Well, gosh, here's the thing. Here's one. Holy cow, Alaric Jackson. No pressures conceded. Oh, just one. He ended up picking up one, it looks like. But for a guy that just went from 0 to 60 getting into this season, not really taking much contact, not taking a lot of actual first-team reps. He just stepped in there, slotted in there, did a heck of a job against those guys, Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter. Those are high-end Defensive Player of the Year candidates as well. So, really fantastic. And, Bo Limmer, what a trooper. They have a lot of trust in this guy. Came in for Alaric Jackson when he went down. Alaric Jackson pops back in. He pops over when Kevin Dotson goes down. Obviously, those are things we gotta keep our eye on. I'm sure it's going to be addressed in the post-game press conference by Sean McVay. So, really fantastic game out of that guy. Those two guys, I'll say. That was Bo Limmer. Les Snead called him a graduate student among PhDs playing last year at center, which, hey, shout out Coleman Shelton as well. No pressures allowed by him either. Where is old Coleman? Not a great run blocking grade for him either. Bo Limmer, actually, according to PFF anyway, whatever you want to make of that, Bo Limmer, one of the highest graded guys this week, 86.1 run blocking grade. Is this a guy? Did all of that time working with the PhDs get him ready and prepared to step into an actual starting role? Obviously we want Kevin Dotson in there. But maybe he's maybe when he's not a center, he'll have a better grasp of the position. So yeah, it's a great way to put it, Jason. I mean, there's just not a lot. There's just not a lot of guys that can do that. And yeah, great find. And what about a tough guy, Puka Nacua, coming in after a incredible hit, and he kept taking him. New guy over at the Athletic, whose name I'm forgetting right now, he described it as a possible brain injury that he suffered. Those are not words you want to hear about your team's greatest receiver. But you got to shout him out, not just for being a tough guy, but being for the guy. 131 yards today, no touchdowns for him, but he's still the main target. Davante Adams comes in there with 50 yards at the end of the day, 8 targets, 4 catches. Strong day. You can see the pull that he has for this. My guy called back. There was a stretch in this game where I thought the Rams had kind of gotten over that until those last couple of drives, a couple of costly penalties in those last 2 drives. Those were problems that cost them over the last 2 seasons, 2023 and 2024, that really set them back. So I think still on the table, still some of those pre-snap things, and then you look on the other side of the ball and you say the Texans, and in a way that really saved the Rams. They had a couple of, their offensive line had a couple of problems, tight ends as well, pre-snap penalties. So yeah, I mean, these are the kind of games that the Rams are going to have to win and win early. So we're getting like spam. That's kind of fun. Yeah. So, running out, catching balls out of the backfield did not work at all for this team this time around. Ours, Blake Corum catch. So that's a positive sign to see. This was a good first hard test. Gone either way. Went the right way enough. And you gotta love that. Any other takeaways from this game? Yeah, I mean, I think shouted out all the guys I wanted to shout out. Again, I'm sorry, Landman. I underestimated you. I worried that you were going to be too much of a ball hawk. That worked out for you today. Yeah, so we're going to talk Titans all week. Titans did not pull off the win against the mighty Denver Broncos. Should be a little easier game. It should be, but we'll definitely dig into all of that. It's going to be at Tennessee. It leads into at Eagles. So 2 early games, traveling back to back. Stafford, smiling ear to ear, with those great veneers, looking good. Seemed like he was feeling good. Didn't seem like he was hurt. He wasn't grimacing. How does he feel tomorrow? Just got to keep an eye on it. And maybe this will become a thing of the past. Maybe in 3-4 weeks we'll forget about it because they'll be undefeated heading into a Niners game at SoFi, prime time, first game of October. That's a good question. So Jason's asking why Hunter was a scratch. No news came out about it. I would guess that it had something to do with special teams. He wasn't on the injury report. That's something to keep an eye on as well. Again, he was kind of a guy that we were thinking was going to be a big difference maker for this team. Kind of an explosive element. And we didn't even get to see him today. No Cody Schrader either. Hardly any Blake Corum. So that's still a big question. Kyren Williams' usage last season was off the charts. He played more snaps than any other running back. He had more snaps as a pass defender, 179 if my memory is correct. 69 more than the next guy behind him, which was a Denver Bronco. So in the pass protection, I've beat this dead horse a lot. I'm sure we've got some new viewers here, but you don't want Kyren Williams in there a ton, that much, just because he's your best running back. There's a chance of injury. The offensive line should be able to protect Stafford with chip help from a running back, from a tight end, but your front five has to be the guys that really get that job done. And Jarquez Hunter was a very good pass protector from the drills that we saw him in at training camp. So we'll see what goes into next week as well. But hit me with any more questions, guys. We'll just wrap up. If you want me to shout out anything, I'll throw it up on the screen. Any guys that you loved seeing, any guys that you were wondering, like Jared Verse, where was he all game? We got to shout out Kobe Durant with that really heads up play. Great to see him in a contract year making a difference in this kind of game. I have so many questions about this secondary, not just the year and how they'll play, but the contract situations that they're all heading into over the next one or two seasons. We could see an entirely new defensive backfield at cornerbacks, especially. It's going to reshape the defense, and it's interesting because it's kind of coinciding with when this defense is going to get a lot more expensive. They're going to pay either Kobe Turner and or Byron Young. I'm putting money on Kobe Turner, maybe not Byron Young. They're going to have to pay Jared Verse and Braden Fiske in shortly. I mean, Jared Verse, he's going to come up on his fourth year of his rookie deal sooner than you realize. They're also going to have to pay Puka Nacua. They might be getting a lot cheaper at the quarterback position if they're going to draft a guy high in the 2026 draft. So great job for Kobe Durant. We have a lot of high opinions of Quentin Lake. Not a great game. A couple of missed tackles for him. Here's an interesting thing along with Lake. Sorry for these tangents, but first time alone, wink. Those pressure packages that they were running, those sim pressures where they had 6 guys up on the line, drop 4 into cover or 2 into coverage, rushing 4, rushing non-traditional pass rushers. I think we're going to see a lot of that, and I think it's really going to define the defense's success. It's not just the Rams; it's all over the place. But good on Chris Shula for catching onto that trend and really utilizing it in this game. So on to Tennessee. Am I right? Heading out east next week. It's going to 10 a.m. game, so we'll see you nice, bright and early. Remember, Sleeper Fantasy, it's your home. Go get it. Get some money on there. Have some fun. Win some money. If you win anything, let me know. But thank you for joining us here at the LAFB Network. You can find all of our writing over at LAFBnetwork.com. We're going to be doing 4 shows a week. We're going to be live after every game. That's a commitment to you guys. We're going to be live. We're going to be doing the call-in show. And if nobody's calling in, like nobody's calling in today, thank you, Jason, for participating. A for you for participation. F for the rest of you. Love you guys. I do. But thank you for joining. 4 shows a week, call-in show, live show, reactions, I don't know, injury talk. This is a great time. This is a big year for LAFB. Unprecedented. It's fantastic. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.